What's going on, y'all? KM Best here, your favorite 69th ranked Marvel snapper, except I actually overshot that a fair bit with a Nico Minoru build of Thanos that I think is her most natural home in competitive high elo Marvel Snap. Nico Minoru is Marvel Snap's newest card. She is a Series 5 card available currently in Collector's Spotlight caches, and of course for 6,000 tokens in the token shop. She is a 1-cost, 2-power card that has 7 different effects, which are referred to in her text as spells. All of her spells trigger on the playing of the card after her, and the trigger for her spell happens after on reveal effects. So it'll happen after an Elsa proc, it'll happen after the on reveal effects on the card. So spell number 1 turns the next card you play into a demon. Spell number 2 blows up the next card you play, and then you draw 2 cards. Spell number 3 moves your card to the right, kind of like a reversed Iron Fist. Spell number 4 adds +2 power to the card that you play next. Spell number 5 is Scarlet Witch, except it can actually hit things like Nowhere. As long as you play Nico off of Nowhere, you can play the other card on Nowhere and it will actually get rid of it. Her most underrated ability is the ability to copy the next card you play. This is the crux of her current viability because it goes so very well with Elsa Bloodstone. A second Elsa Bloodstone is completely insane. This is also an incredible card even when you already have played your Elsa Bloodstone because you can copy, say, a 6-power Jeff and then play it in that lane, getting a 9-power Jeff. Quite strong. And finally, she doubles her own power. Now, the order of these effects is random, but they don't repeat over the course of the game. In addition, if she's on the board, her effect does not switch. It stays as what it is, but once she goes back to hand, her effect will start switching again at the beginning of the turn. So, what is this card actually good at doing, and why do I think it goes in the Thanos deck? Basically, every single one of these abilities has synergy with something in the Thanos list. You are able to turn weak stones into demons. You can convert them into 2 cards, which is obviously insane. You can copy your Elsa Bloodstones or your Jeffs or a stone. There's a ton of good things that it can do. And then the sort of downside ones are like, the move one, which actually does sort of synergize with Elsa. You can play something, get the Elsa buff, and then move it out. And, the ones that just make her effectively a 1/4, like the ones that like double her, or the one that adds 2 power to something else. She's effectively a 1/4 and just a very good card in those scenarios. So basically, her sort of floor here is about a 1/4, and her ceiling is absolutely game winning when you duplicate an Elsa or whatever else you do, like draw 3 cards off a reality stone or something. So this is the list that I used. It had about a 60% win rate over about 50 games in high infinite. I actually climbed from about like rank 58 to about like rank 53 with this deck. Once again, I'm overshooting 69 a little bit. That's my bad. We'll get back there at some point, I'm sure. Now, the main thing that this deck does differently from other Thanos decks, we drop Daredevil and we drop Shang-Chi, and we're now just playing a straightforward, if people remember the W build of Thanos, it's very much like that, right? Like we have our Iron Lad for when our games sort of get a little bit clunky. This is a more proactive build of Thanos. You are trying to just play a bunch of stuff and do things that are fundamentally unfair, like duplicating your Elsa, or duplicating the results of your Elsa, or playing an Elsa Vision into an Alioth. You're really just trying to execute your game plan rather than react to your opponent's game plan. You are able to have some tech in the deck. Something like Mobius, for example, is quite reasonable as a tech card right now. And Mobius is actually, I think, extra important because the Loki matchup with this deck is genuinely not very good. I think one of the few bad matchups you have is Loki, and I really miss Daredevil, weirdly, in the Loki matchup because it gave you a way to just sort of scam your way out of a truly awful matchup. Now, would you ever go as far as cutting Mobius and just accepting that the Loki matchup is bad? I don't think so, because it's not god-awful. It is winnable. You can do things in it, but it's not great. And for that reason, I feel like running Mobius to make it even close to palatable is quite important in this current metagame. We've talked a lot about how she synergizes with this list. It's her most obvious home. I've played her in Loki as well, and I do think she's quite good there. But mostly what she's good at right now is doubling Elsa's, so most Elsa's decks are going to kind of want to try to play her at this point. Thanos is the spot where she just does a bunch of good stuff. You actually actively want to see a lot of what she does a lot of the time in Thanos. And in other decks, she's very much okay, well, if I get the high roll, that's fine. And if I need to Loki her away, that's also fine. I've talked a lot about Elsa Bloodstone on this channel. She is probably the best card in Marvel Snap. She is definitely the best Season Pass card they've released in a very long time, unless you want to count peak Loki, who they nerfed with 2 indirect nerfs fairly quickly. I think that Elsa has been a truly dominant force, and I think that you need to play this card if you want to be hyper competitive in Marvel Snap. Many would think that you're supposed to cut Psylocke. She's like the least impactful too, but I actually think in a list like this, she ends up being quite a bit more impactful. Mainly what Thanos tries to leverage is that it's very hard to play around all of their 5-cost cards at the same time, and that threat is what makes Thanos so powerful. Psylocke is a way to accelerate that threat. You have a 5-cost card on turn 4. She's very, very important for that reason. There's a reason why Thanos is the deck that is consistently doing Professor X stuff, and it's because you have Psylocke and Time Stone as a way to make that happen. If you don't own Jeff, he is one of the best purchases you can make. I would say he is likely more important to purchase than Nico for this list, and for most lists as well. He is incredibly powerful on his own, but he is extra powerful with Elsa Bloodstone, giving him 6 power. That's pretty dumb. Mobius is our anti-Loki tech, and I know that when I played Loki, what I did was cut Rogue to fit Nico in, which means Mobius is actually a little bit more safe than he otherwise would be. So that is a big plus. I think he's quite solid in that respect. He's just a little bit too strong for what he does, and you are very interested in what he does. So do try to predict when they're going to play Loki, get the Mobius out on the same turn. There are a lot of people who will just play Loki on turn 3 against Thanos because it is such a strong play. And when you stop that from happening with a Mobius, those games are actually winnable. And when you don't stop that from happening with the Mobius, you are in big trouble. Iron Lad, I think you could replace with either America Chavez or Shang-Chi, depending on your disposition here. I could even see you trying to fit Daredevil back in, but I think Iron Lad is the truest flex slot in the entire deck. The one that I think anyone can really take and be like, you know, I don't really want to play Iron Lad. I want to play this other stuff. I'd be like, yeah, sure, right? Like, you can't play Iron Lad and Chavez in the same deck as long as you're playing a Thanos deck, because Thanos shuffles the stones in, so Iron Lad will very often hit America Chavez, which makes him pretty bad. So it's kind of one or the other there. You can bring in Daredevil if you really want to, you know, play the deck with training wheels on it, but Iron Lad is good for the games where you're not scamming with a Time Stone or a Psylocke, and he's also, interestingly enough, quite solid in the end game, I've found, where a lot of the time when you have to play a 5+1, you can't cover enough lanes. But a 4+1/+1 on turn 6 will actually let you cover things that otherwise may not be covered. So Iron Lad, weirdly, a very, very powerful. You are a deck that plays a lot of cheap dudes that kind of go everywhere in the form of the Infinity Stones, and thus you are a deck that benefits very heavily from Blue Marvel. This is to say nothing of being able to back buff Professor X lanes after they're already locked up. Quite a solid card in Thanos lists. Not one I would really consider cutting right now, but it's not like uncuttable. I just wouldn't. Devil Dinosaur is your resident, very, very large unit in the deck, and the ideal path with this deck is something along the lines of lock up a Professor X lane, play a Devil Dinosaur, Eliath. Like, that's the platonic ideal of how you want this deck to shape out, but I think more often than not, Dino ends up being a very inviting target for opposing Shang-Chi's, and Shang-Chi is kind of everywhere, and so a lot of the time it's like, oh god, I have to Eliath the Dino lane to protect it, but then what if they don't Shang-Chi? I've thought about cutting him, is basically what I'm getting at here. I don't think you can, he's just too big and too good, especially with Nico giving more ways to fill your hand, both by cloning stuff and by drawing 2 cards. He's too good to cut, but like, I would be sympathetic if you said you wanted to. Professor X is a card I think a lot of people truly dislike in Marvel Snap, and I totally understand why, but that's not going to stop me from playing it on turn 4 and winning lanes for free. Professor X on turn 4 is like the classic, oh my god, play in Marvel Snap, and this deck is built to do that. Vision is usually your safest card to play when you have 5 energy, because there's just no downside to the guy. He's just awesome all the time. Like he's not big enough to die to Shang-Chi unless you Elsa buff him, and he can fix all the mistakes you make in real time. If you make a positioning error, don't worry, Vision's got you. And that is something that I find incredibly valuable. He's just such a safe play when you have 5 energy. The purple Fart Cloud is your only real endgame unit, with apologies to Thanos himself. This guy's here to lock games up, and a lot of your gameplay is meant to set up an Alioth game turn. Oh my god. A lot of your gameplay is meant to set up an Alioth turn. I might leave that in. We'll figure that out later. And the Alioth turns tend to be, you know, they're pretty predictable, but it's hard for your opponents to be able to be like, all right, well, he's got like 8 cards left in his deck. Maybe he doesn't have Alioth. It's hard to keep the discipline needed to not stay and sort of see if they have Alioth, and you get some benefit from that. It's not as, you know, Galactus-y, oh, I'm dead, I'm always dead here, I have to leave. Because it's Thanos, there's a little bit more RNG, so you will see people staying a little bit more. You mostly don't play this guy as a 10 or 20 power unit. He is mostly just there to put the stones in the deck, and luckily, you know, putting the stones in the deck is still good enough. With the change to Soulstone, I was a little bit worried that he was just not gonna get there, but I think he's there. I think it's okay. And to me, this deck feels like a very strong contender, even in a metagame filled with Loki Elsa. I do think Loki Elsa has some advantages over this deck in the heads up, but I don't think it's insurmountable. And this is one of the 2 decks that I think you will always be safe playing until they make severe balance changes. This deck and Loki Elsa, and Nico Minoru is a natural fit here. It is such a good card with all the Thanos stones. As long as you manage to get decent value out of it, you're going to be pretty happy playing Nico in this list, so there is that. Now, I know people are going to ask, is Nico worth it? And my answer to you right now is I think it's a little bit too early to tell. My instinct is she ends up on a lower tier of card than Elsa, than Loki, than Kitty Pryde, those like absolute staples, Jeff, right? Like she ends up on a lower tier than that. I see her somewhere in range of cards like Thanos and Alioth and Iron Lad. I think she's more in that second tier of like, wow, she's really good. That said, the box that she's in, the Spotlight Cash box that she's in, does contain Kitty Pryde as well. So if you are missing Kitty Pryde, this does seem like kind of a no-brainer week to open. So the Kitty Pryde Kitty's just unbelievable, right? If you're missing Kitty Pryde, getting Kitty Pryde and Nico is a very good deal, I think. Phoenix Force even is a very reasonable card right now as well. Like, this is a good box. And I do think that, you know, if you have 4 Spotlight Caches saved up and you're interested in that, you should be in a decent spot if you do this. My one worry is I think a lot of Nico's power right now comes from, you know, very specific play patterns. And a lot of those very specific play patterns involve Elsa Bloodstone. And in the event of Elsa Bloodstone nerfs, I think it would actually take a little bit longer time for us to figure out exactly how good she is. Right now, I know she's really good because she's amazing with Elsa, right? That's what makes her really good. Like, she's just getting 2 Elsas is such a game-breaking thing to do that it's just like, okay, yeah, she's obviously really strong. But if the context around that changes, we'll sort of have to see how good she ends up being in other contexts. So right now, I think she's very good. I think this is probably the best build of Thanos. I'd be surprised if she didn't end up in a lot of high-level decks, because right now, the way to win Elsa mirrors is by having 2 Elsas, and this card lets you have 2 Elsas, and so you're going to win a lot of Elsa mirrors, so you're going to run her. But outside of that context, if something changes, I'm not actually sure how strong she is generally. I'm inclined to say she's quite powerful right now, but I do want to give that warning as well. All right, y'all. I hope you enjoyed the video. We're about to jump into some high elo gameplay of this exact list. I hope you enjoy that as well. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate everyone who sticks around for this stuff. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I am KM Best. I will see you in the next one. It has been a pleasure as always. I've played 4 games with her and I've won all of them. So with that in mind, unequivocally, yes. When you play 4 games with a card and you win all of those games, that is enough of a sample size to say you should spend $100, I think. God, you fuckers, you know I'm joking, right? Right? I can't. Someone's gonna take that seriously. Someone's gonna take it seriously, and I'm gonna cry. Too late, already spent my life savings? Oh my god. Oh my god. I have some vintage NFTs to sell you. You can NFTs. Killmonger deck. That's not fair. We're both kind of doing very little here. It's illegal to play Killmonger. I want you to know that. Definitely not KM coins, because that's like, that's very close to, like, KMK. I don't like it. It's a letter off something very unpleasant. What's happening here? So, I mean, we can go Iron Lad here. I don't know. This feels unpleasant. Uh-oh. The venom kills me, right? Wait, it stayed there. We die, right? Wait, I don't even know. Wait, what did she copy? Nico? What's it doing? It becomes a demon? Whoa! She's busted! Yeah! We were gonna win that anyway, because that was a soul stone. But she's busted! Okay, I mean, we got the one that has points on it. That's good. Have you tested Nico on a bounce deck? Nope. I haven't. Great Web, god fucking awful. The worst shit ever. It sucks so bad. Great Web sucks. What'd they Nico for? Replace that card's location. Fair enough. Which one are you gonna do, though? Which one are you gonna do, though? Okay, fair enough. I feel you. I feel you. What up, T.O.? Woo! I love a Professor X. I love me a prof. All right. Elsa, Mind Stone, Space Stone, Snap. Do you ever snap the prof turn? I think that tells them that we're profing, unfortunately. Whoa, that better be a Jeff, dude. What's going on over here? Vision. I mean, that is terrifying. Vision do be scary, though. I'll play it. I think this beats Eliath on both lanes. So I'll play it, basically. It also beats their weird, like, Jeff plus something plays. Surely I win one of these, right? 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 Surely I win one of these fucking games, correct? Correct. Hopefully. Still correct. The most correct, even. It's like, do you think there's a good replacement for X? Because if you don't, you kind of already know. And the only time people ask those is when they kind of know there's not a good answer. You can replace Nico, yeah. But like the only time people ask those is when they're kind of aware there's not actually a good answer for it, and so they're just like, okay, I'll see what happens. Double this card's power? I don't think I care for that. So death is off the table now. How long have you had that haircut? Forever. There's no inspiration. It's just like I guess if there is an inspiration, it's pretty much entirely just my hair does not like being wide on the sides. The way my face looks. It does not like being wide on the side. Yeah, literally just the way my face is. How do I win this game? I kind of don't think I do. Deadpool's a little too big. If I had an Goliath, I could win this game, but I don't have an Goliath, and as is, I just don't think I win it. I can try this. I think we died. Oh, shit. Well, we did die. Wait, we won? The fuck? Hell yeah, Dino. What the hell? All right, we did it. She's a slam dunk in this deck where it's like, okay, this one I'm actually sure about. She's worth just for the kitty variant? Honestly, same. Honestly, same. Like, if you have the stuff, yeah, like, if you have Elsa, Loki, Jeff, etc., it's like, you're probably going to be okay with it. Oof. Ooh. All right. I guess we're in a rock fight over here. That Space Stone's good for them. Lad worth 6K right now? Less than the others for sure. Definitely less worth 6K than the others. Any thoughts of cutting Dino? I have given some thought to it. I haven't pulled the trigger on it, though. Holy fuck. Dude, they're balling so hard here. It's actually kind of crazy. The amount of balling they're accomplishing right here, it's nuts. Look at those discards. I mean, they're not, like, putting points on the board, but they're balling. Thoughts on dropping Lad? If you want to drop Lad, it's for, like, Chavez or Shang. Go nuts, I suppose. You have a Jeff, too? Oh, you just locked up that lane. I see. I see. Oh, you have the Soul Stone that we gave you, right? You got the Space Stone for it? Okay, I get you. I get what you're cooking. You could Space Stone some shit over to there. It'll be awesome. Into... Uh-huh. Okay. So there's like two things they can do here. One is move a small guy over here, in which case Thanos here wins. And the other is move the big guy over here and try to win on that. So I think there's kind of like a lot of question marks as to what is supposed to happen here. Oh my god. Oh my god. They got juked. Yo, Thanos just fucking holding it down over here. Most of the time, I think we take those dubs. Okay, please be the copy one. Please be the copy one. Please be the copy one. You the copy one. Copy, copy. That's fine too. If I Elsa left, how does that work? Does it make the copies? Like, how does what's the ordering here? I actually don't know. Let's find out. Oh my god, it just made 4. Fucked up. That did not work how I wanted it to. Oh my. Weird, 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 weird game. Insanely weird game. What is this? Where are they supposed to play cards? Do we get completely hammered by a fucking Mjolnir in the Bar Sinister later? Probably. Two Wongs. Okay. I see ya. Jeff's quite interesting here. Uh-huh. This Jeff is fucking huge. But it moves out and makes way for a Thanos that is even fucking huger. Wait, what are they doing? Okay. Okay. I know this looks weird, but I think we might be able to scam them on the left. Surfer? It's not Surfer. It's like, how many Mjolnirs are they going to play? I don't know. I got no idea what's going on. What the fuck? Okay. Okay. It was a no-brainer, and they roped that turn much more than they roped any other turn. Let me put it that way. Oh, but I kind of just want to play her as a card. I think I have to hold her here. What's their Nico? They just played her as a 1/4. Okay. Do I get the duplicator? Oh, please don't give me my fuck. Oh, fuck. Both of those are really good. That's something. There's one way to get 2 Elsas. I do not care. Cool Loki. I fuck with it. Oh, fuck. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Do we actually get there off this? Holy fuck. Let's find out. What I'm confused by is, where did this come from? Oh, they low-keyed it. I get it. Nice, dude. You're cooking. You're doing fantastic. Elias. Okay, you know what? Fair enough. All right, so as I see it, we should absolutely fucking dunksterunium here. Because Jeff is broken. Woo! Boy.